certain Call of Duty for years at a time, it's not something that you really think about anything of an alternative. You end up seeing everything that you know of it as is, and it becomes embedded in your brain as such. But in some rare instances, there are different versions of a game that somebody who may be playing the same exact thing as you may not be experiencing the same thing as you. And that's something we're gonna take a look at in this one, as 3 different regional changes to Modern Warfare 2, a classic that you may or may not have ever known existed, and it's something that I find rather intriguing and very interesting. So with that said, once again, 3 regional differences to Modern Warfare 2. Let's take a look. The first and the biggest one here, in which it's completely different depending on where you're from and what regional version of the game you ended up buying. This deals with the mission No Russian, and this is something that, of course, I'm sure you can end up guessing where this is going to go, but there was some interesting information that came out of an interview with, I believe it was Robert Bowling, in which he ended up mentioning that the mission that everybody knew, for better or for worse, No Russian, you'd actually get by and successfully complete it by simply walking through. You did not have to take part in any of the casualties, and you could just simply walk through and complete the mission, whereas nobody really ever thought about that in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure some people have and at some point did, but for the most part, that was something that collectively the community was always like, well, this is what we gotta do. But that was in the versions that we all know, and for the most part, the rest of the world knows. But there is a few different regions, that being the Russian version, the Japanese, and the German releases of Modern Warfare 2. They've all been altered for that mission specifically. If you were to take a look at the Japanese and the German releases, if you were to end up killing any civilians in No Russian, then you'd end up failing the mission. So it prompted everybody to walk through without partaking in any of that. So, whereas it was free game for the rest of the world, these 2 versions were pretty tight-knit, but the Russian release is a lot stricter because that version doesn't have the mission at all. While specifically making a ton of sense on the Russian version of the game, the Japanese and German versions both have much stricter laws and rulings on how the game graphics, the content, and such work out. So that again does make sense when you look at it in that sense, but it also is interesting that one of the most iconic things is completely changed around in a few versions of Modern Warfare 2. Now the second regional change here ends up dealing with some of Makarov's dialogue, and it again deals with the Japanese version, which has been changed around, and it actually caused quite a bit of a stir, a little bit of a controversy and things alike with the dialogue itself. But due to poor translation accuracy in the Japanese version of the game, Makarov's famous lines of "Remember, no Russian" was incredibly poorly translated, and it resulted in the following translation: "Kill them, they are Russians." Now, as for an error like this happening, it's not something that you normally really ever see, but it did give Square Enix, the Japanese publisher for Modern Warfare 2, it got them a ton of backlash, and of course, you can understand why this sort of thing would be incredibly ill-received. While just words and while just a few lines of dialogue, it is a completely different context, and that regional difference might not have worked out too well in their favor. Now, as for the third and final regional change within this video, it deals with the English versions and the non-English versions of Modern Warfare 2, and it's something that probably was just put in there to save time rather than to spare the process of translating new, although it only is one word. But if you end up taking a look at the multiplayer menu, if you were to have a brand new item unlocked, it would then show up with the icon of new, which sometimes got incredibly irritating if you could not find or it glitched out the item that you were looking for. But in the non-English versions, instead of it saying new on an indication as to what it would be, it's instead just designated by an unlocked padlock icon, which again could just all be for the sake of saving time when going to translate things for different versions, or it could be something else entirely, but that seems like the most logical reasoning and explanation as for why. But nonetheless, this covers more ground than the last 2 and is in the majority of non-English versions of the game. But that said, that is 3 regional changes from Modern Warfare 2, a classic, something that, having played this for years, you guys may never have thought twice about, but somewhere else out there in the world, somebody did not get the same experience as you, whether it be big or small, as we showcased here with these 3 changes. But hopefully you guys did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on these regional changes, and would you guys like to see more regional changes coming in different videos, or do you not necessarily care all that much for them? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below, and hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course if you guys are new to the the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Call of Duty, both multiplayer for Black Ops 3 and Zombies, Call of Duty World War II multiplayer and Zombies, Modern Warfare Mastered, Infinite Warfare, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that is the best place to get connected outside of YouTube. I practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Mine's been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.